Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be exploring one of the absolute most vital, yet honestly incredibly unsung heroes in the entire Naruto universe. We're talking about a guy whose very existence is literally a scientific miracle. His unique genetic makeup completely shaped the destiny of the Hidden Leaf. His whole journey from, a tragic experiment to a legendary shinobi, it's just a fascinating one. Okay, let's dive into this, because to truly understand this character, we actually have to start with a massive core mystery. Who is the real Yamato? If you try to look up his true identity, you're going to hit a complete brick wall. The mystery surrounding him is as dense as the forest he creates, and it goes right back to the literal moment he was born. And this right here brilliantly illustrates the tragedy of his origins. The man we know as Yamato doesn't even know his own birth name. He didn't even have a nickname as an infant. Think about that for a second. Every single name he uses throughout the whole series is just an alias. He's a man whose original identity was entirely stolen from him before he could even form words, essentially turning him into a total blank slate for the shinobi world to just mold. Moving into Section 1, let's talk about the ultimate ninja DNA. We are dealing with the absolute holy grail of shinobi genetics, Hashirama's cells. Implanting this DNA grants this incredible extended life force, practically inexhaustible stamina, and near instantaneous regenerative healing. It's an insane power-up. And this is exactly why big-time figures like Orochimaru, Danzo, and Madara were literally obsessed over acquiring these cells to just drastically boost their own strength. But the real prize locked inside that DNA, that would be wood release, or mokuton. It's so fascinating because by simultaneously combining earth and water chakra natures, the user doesn't just manipulate elements around them. No, they literally convert their chakra into a source of life. They can spawn vegetation out of thin air and build these massive towering wooden structures. That brings us to Section 2, the only survivor. 60. That is a really heavy number. The rogue ninja Orochimaru, desperate to replicate Hashirama's legendary wood release, went out and kidnapped 60 infants from across the Fire Nation. He subjected these helpless children to horrific, unthinkable genetic experiments, constantly infusing their tiny bodies with Hashirama's super volatile, overwhelming DNA. One out of those 60 test subjects, only one survived. The volatile cells absolutely overwhelmed and killed 59 of those kids. Orochimaru actually abandoned the lab, totally convinced every single subject was a failure. But somehow, against all odds, this one infant miraculously survived the process. His little body adapted to the first Hokage's DNA. And that lone survivor was Yamato. Tracking his aliases really paints a clear picture of his character. He was found and raised by the ruthless Danzo and the Black Ops Root Division, right? There, he was codenamed Kino and trained to be a totally cold-blooded assassin. But after encountering Kakashi and the third Hokage, he found a far better path, joining the regular Anbu Black Ops under the new name Tenzo. And finally, Lady Tsunade assigned him to lead Team 7, officially giving him the name we all know today, Yamato. It's honestly a beautiful evolution from this living weapon to a highly trusted leader. So, Section 3, Mastering that Wood Release. Now, what's really interesting about all this is how Yamato's arsenal is super tactical compared to Hashirama's sheer destruction. He creates wood clones for perfect, totally untraceable espionage, and he can summon wood locking walls to instantly shield his team from danger. He also uses the Four Pillars prison to capture targets completely alive. And, absolutely most crucially, he applies the Hokage-style 60-year-old technique to suppress tailed beast chakra. This basically makes him the only person capable of keeping Naruto's transformations under control. There's just a hilarious irony in this quote. I mean, here is a former Black Ops assassin claiming he's perfectly willing to establish a, quote, reign of terror. But in reality, his version of terror is making these totally goofy, wide-eyed, spooky facial expressions with a flashlight under his chin just to prank Naruto. He threatens fear, but come on, he's really just the ultimate camp counselor making sure his kids are behaving. Moving right along to Section 4, the power gap. The crucial difference here really comes down to raw reserves. Think of it this way, Hashirama's natural chakra is like a massive, vast, endless ocean, whereas Yamato's implanted chakra is more like a pond. Because of this massive gap, Hashirama could suppress tailed beasts with pure, raw physical strength, while Yamato actually requires the first Hokage's crystal necklace as a medium to pull it off. It's a great reminder that implanted abilities definitely have their limits. Yamato's version is absolutely less powerful, but as we've seen, it's still uniquely vital to the village. And finally, Section 5, Konoha's Unsung Hero. First off, let's do a quick reality check on his databook stats. Just because his chakra is a pond compared to Hashirama's ocean doesn't mean Yamato is weak. Far from it, actually. A staggering 4.5 out of 5 in ninjutsu and intelligence, solid 4s in taijutsu and speed, those are huge. He is still a remarkably lethal elite operative whose combat statistics are well above the average ninja. Yet despite all those incredible, elite assassination skills, look at his ultimate post-war fate. He practically becomes Konoha's full-time architect and DIY construction manager. Following Pain's devastating assault on the village, Yamato uses his wood style to single-handedly build the village back up from absolute destruction. It is incredibly ironic and honestly kind of funny that this god-tier DNA assassin ends up as an overworked builder managing infrastructure projects in the Boruto era. And that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Look at this beautifully complex character arc. Yamato was an anomaly born out of horrific, destructive experiments. He was raised to be a weapon in the total darkness. But ultimately, he found his true purpose not in taking lives, but in protecting and literally rebuilding his home. So I leave you with this. Is Yamato's true strength really found on the battlefield? Or is it in the very foundations of the village he so lovingly recreated? Thanks for joining me on today's explainer, and keep asking those deep questions.